When you're working in a cramped situation like this, cables are the enemy, but I finally have a solution. So when you're creating content like this, you pretty much always will want an external monitor of some sort. This is either for you, for the client, for cinematographer, director, talent. It's so that you can actually see what the heck the camera is doing and what it's seeing, so you can adjust or, make better content. It's just so much easier when you actually have something to look at. So this is the Hollyland Mars 400S, and it's a wireless video transmitter, so you can connect one to your camera, the other to a monitor, and it wirelessly sends that video back and forth. Without something like the 400S, you need a cable to go from the camera to the monitor. And sure, like in a situation like this where the room is pretty small, a cable will technically work. But most of the time when you're doing work, a cable just isn't gonna cut it. The camera is in one place and you want your monitor and everyone who's watching it to be somewhere else. So this is good for situations like this. We're filming for an upcoming video and you'll see that pretty soon. But this is just my living room / kitchen. It's not very big and it gets cramped with all the stuff set up, the lights, all these sound blankets, audio. It's just not a very big space. And then I want certain framing. So I want a long lens for this shot. So the camera has to be pushed up far against the wall. And I can't really, operate or see what's on the screen very clearly. And that's where something like this really comes in handy. And really, this is game changing. Once you start using one, it's very hard to go back. So with this, you get a transmitter and a receiver. One end goes on your camera, the other goes on your monitor. Now this could be something like a big TV or a handheld monitor. It really doesn't matter what you plug into because it uses HDMI or you can use SDI. And really, there was no setup. All I had to do was plug everything in, turn it on, and they automatically connected and started transmitting. And I have all this set up here on my kind of AV cart. So I have my monitor sitting on a stand from IKEA that has wheels so I can roll it around, holds all of my audio equipment. Everything I need to monitor what's happening with the camera and with audio goes here. And it makes it really easy to roll the monitor around to wherever I need it. If I need to move myself out of the way, or if I need to show the talent something or the client something. And for me, I'm used to being on camera, so I'm not too worried about what I look like and what the take look like because I'm just used to it. But for your talent, that isn't always the case. If they're not used to being on camera, a lot of times you want to show them how the shot looked, what maybe they could do better, or just, give them confidence that they're doing a great job. And having to, unhook the camera, move the camera, and show them like through the back of the screen, that's just not gonna work. So with this, I can roll the monitor over, show them, you're doing a great job, or here, maybe we can tweak this little thing. It makes you more professional, but also it's just more convenient and more efficient. And like everyone says, time on set equals money. Now, my favorite feature by far with the 400S, I think, is that you can connect it to mobile devices. So yes, you can connect it to HDMI or SDI, which is good, but you can also connect it at the same time to an iPad or an iPhone or an Android device. So essentially you have more than one monitor, but with that app, you can also do things like record and take photos and screenshots of what the camera is seeing. So this is great to kind of mark up if you want to make a little change, or if you want to give it, to your talent to share on social media, or just to have as a memento. There's a lot of stuff that you can do with this, but the fact that you can basically monitor from 2 different places with one transmitter is a nice feature. Really, there are 2 complaints that honestly, at the end of the day, haven't really bothered me, but I can see them being issues. One is the delay. There's a slight delay from what the camera sees to what you're showing on the monitor. It is not very big, but it is noticeable. So if you're doing something that's very precise and you need that to be exactly right, well, there is a slight delay here. Again, it's not very big. I haven't had any issues with it, but something to keep in mind. The other is that both the transmitter and receiver have a fan built in. Now, it isn't very loud, but you can definitely audibly hear it. If you're doing something that's really sound sensitive, maybe this might be an issue, but compared to my lights and my camera and everything else that has these tiny little fans built in, it isn't much louder. It's just adding to that. Something to keep in mind. Now, of course, in situations like this, everything is close together, so there's no problem with the signal. You could take this pretty far with line of sight and it won't disconnect. But of course, it's a wireless signal, so that you have to be wary of obstacles or things in front of it that could get in the way. It all really just depends on the situation, but I haven't had any issues with connection. I've been impressed by how good the 400S is. It works seamlessly, it does everything it's supposed to do, and the addition of being able to use my phone or my tablet to view what's coming out of my camera is a huge plus. And what's really great about the 400S is the price. I have used some of the competing versions and they're great, but they're very expensive. This is a fraction of the price, but in my use at least, it gives you pretty much all of the same functionality. And I think if you're like me and you really just hate cables, being able to eliminate that one that also gives you much more functionality, it's a no-brainer.